Well, it wouldn't be a rundown without talking about some hacking and security news. I mean, it felt like every week we could have done a ransomware story, but instead of doing yet another ransomware story, I wanted to take a real quick look at something I think was a bigger overall story, and that was actually the rise of a new hacking gang called LAPSUS. If you think back to the end of March, there were two really big stories back to back. NVIDIA managed to get themselves hacked, and then Samsung did too. What was embarrassing in both of those hacks is that company source code was leaked publicly on the internet. And as the authorities did a little bit more investigation, they found out that part of the group was based in Brazil and the other part was based with a group of teenagers in the UK. And they had a very novel way of attacking customers. Instead of doing anything crafty with technology, they used good old fashioned social engineering. They were able to sneak in, pay some disgruntled employees to get access to the systems. Or, as we found out later in the year, especially with the Uber hack in September, they actually goaded one of the employees into responding to repeated two-factor authentication requests that allowed them to compromise everything inside of Uber to the point where they were inside of Uber's employee Slack channel as admins and were doing all kinds of crazy stuff. And that's not to say the fact that Cisco got hacked by them as well. So with the other geopolitical events causing some of the Eastern European hacking crews to kind of, refocus their efforts, if you will, the rise of these new crews was especially interesting. And then we also got some news kind of in the middle of the year in May that the Department of Justice has finally decided that if you're trying to hack into a company for the purposes of security research, that they're not going to press charges, which was a huge sigh of relief for the security research groups out there, because now it means that you can't have a situation where a contract goes bad and then all of a sudden the company's suing you for hacking them. And that will actually help identify some of these crews. Either they're the LAPSUS gang or possibly the reconstituted groups like R Evil, which kind of disappeared into thin air earlier this year. But, we're expecting them to come back. So as malware and ransomware become a more ever-present piece of what we think about from the cybersecurity perspective, it's important to remember that a lot of these narratives are being driven by some of these groups.